Next, we'd be at citizens' remarks.
Thank you. Mr. Gittrick, Zachary Gittrick. Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
My name is Zachary Gitrich. I am a member of the Central Illinois chapter of CLAWS, Cat Lovers Against White Supremacy. Sheriff Asbell presented several statements at the Public Safety and Justice Committee. He said, quote, "If someone is resisting and you know their identity and they're not a clear and obvious threat to another person and you have an opportunity to arrest them at a later date, you have a duty to retreat." There is no duty to retreat anywhere in the bill HB 3653. In fact, the word retreat is used only twice in the entire 764-page bill. Here's the actual use of force language in HB 3653. It's on page 282 if you want to follow along at home. It says, quote, "A peace officer need not retreat or desist from efforts to make a lawful arrest because of resistance or threatened resistance to the arrest. He is justified in the use of any force which he reasonably believes to be necessary to effect the arrest and of any force which he reasonably believes to be necessary to defend himself or another from bodily harm while making the arrest." So the literal exact opposite of the sheriff's claims. The very next sentence of the bill switches from addressing all use of force to just lethal use of force. It says, and I'm paraphrasing, "An officer is justified in using deadly force if the person to be arrested is a threat to another or if an individual who is fleeing just committed a violent felony and they are an imminent threat to others while not being arrestable at a later date." Nothing in the bill says you can't arrest someone or use force to arrest someone. Nothing in the bill says you need to retreat. It merely says, please don't murder people unless you absolutely have to. What a crazy concept. Sheriff Asbell is intentionally conflating use of lethal force with all use of force.
Now that's where I got to just tell you a little bit about Sheriff Asbell. See, he's from around here, and we like him a lot. And what I think you're saying there is you're kind of calling him an untruthful person. I've witnessed him take the oath of office and swear to do right.
Okay, I'd really like to be able to give my comments because you're interrupting me right now.
Not only am I going to interrupt you, but I'm going to ask security to take you out if you continue to disparage an official of this body with an allegation of a falsehood made by him. I will not permit that, okay? You are not permitted to say that about people in this room.
An officer is justified in using deadly force if the person to be arrested, okay. Contrary to the assertions, this bill literally does not create a situation where no one can ever be arrested. Next, there was a complaint that the bill gives the officers the discretion that instead of arresting people for B and C misdemeanors, they can issue citations instead. Under HB 3653, Class B and C misdemeanors are not eligible for pretrial detention. Since these crimes are assumed not eligible for pretrial detention, the bill encourages officers to issue summons, quote, in lieu of custodial arrest. For these offenses permitted, the individual in question isn't a danger to anyone. In lieu of is Latin. It means in place of. This means B and C misdemeanors are still potentially offenses in which you could be arrested and therefore be detained. These sections were added to give police greater discretion in who they arrest, so they have more time to investigate more serious offenses. It is safer for everyone involved to issue citations than it is to arrest and incarcerate someone. It is also cheaper. So not only can trespassers and disorderly conductors still be arrested for these offenses, but the bill does nothing to limit a police officer's ability to legally detain someone and or escort a suspect to a different location. In fact, the title of the section of the bill is Person Arrested, Release from Law Enforcement Custody. There was also some talk about domestic battery incidents. If anyone is committing domestic battery, it's a minimum of a Class A misdemeanor. HB 3653 does not change this. In fact, it specifies that domestic battery is one of the few misdemeanors that makes a person eligible for detention pre-trial, meaning they have to be arrested and go in front of a judge. Some people keep saying that officers feel like they're under attack. Morale is down, and none of these officers can possibly even conceive of why people don't like them. Who knew lying to people might not endear them towards you? Now, look, I think the sheriff has done a great job at portraying himself as a reformer. Asbell will tell people the new Jim Crow by Michelle Alexander changed his life, and the documentary 13th is his favorite. He probably watches it every Friday the 13th.
Now, I'm not sure if that's,
Those are his statements that he said before.
Yeah,
I've heard them.
but I'm not sure if you're using that to malign his.
Well, maybe if you let me finish, we can find out.
No, sir. See, I'm the one who decides who speaks, who doesn't in this room. This is a public meeting.
Don't
not
believe
a-
the hype.
All right.
Don't
you're out.
believe the propaganda.
You're out. You're out. You're out. Thank you.
Thanks for respecting my freedom of speech.
You
Thank you.
anytime. Anytime.
Have a good day. You do the same. Thanks, sir.